Goku and his brand new friends finally begin their grand journey through the demon realm, and just as quick as it starts, it immediately stops. But mercifully this week we at least get some Super Saiyan action.
Powerful Nerdcast assemble!
Stay dandy, baby.
Greetings, my friends. It's Corey the Ace Guru. We're going to do things a little differently this week because I'm on the road for business. But I didn't want to skip this episode because really it had some pretty cool stuff going on at the end of it because we finally got to see Goku have a real battle in Dragon Ball Daima. We already saw some nice little previews of how the animation would look when he was throwing down with Vegeta in the first episode, but this one was pretty damn awesome looking, I have to admit. His short battle with Glorio was really impressive, and the way that it actually gets there is kind of funny, but for the most part, this episode is just still sort of meandering around. I mean, really the best parts of this episode kind of take place at the very end of it. I mean, of course, we do get some lore drops about the history of the Supreme Kais, their brand new race name, which goes by the name of the Glins, and the fact that they apparently come from trees. Yeah, it comes to this whole conversation that Supreme Kai has with Glorio when they're camping out in this cave, talking a little bit about his history and, of course, his relation to Degasu and Dr. Arinsu. And of course we do know that they are the brother and sister of the Supreme Kai, but ultimately we don't know what their goals are. However, we do get a big reveal in this episode that yes, it is true, Glorio is working for the supposedly evil Glind scientist herself. What is his motive? What is he doing? Is he being blackmailed into doing something? Has he got some evil aspirations? And we don't know, but they're planting the seeds for it in this episode, and that at least makes it a little more interesting to see where his story is ultimately going to head. I will say, though, that the introduction of Pansy in the last episode gave me a lot of hope that we'd move things in a much faster direction, but it's actually because of her that they ended up crashing their ship in the first place, which is just stupid. It's the tired old trope of we put too much shit on the ship, so we're gonna crash. And basically it just gives her an excuse to show off her skills of being able to work with machines, while at the same time, it also gives an excuse for a little bit of exposition and lore dropping, like I said, learning about the Supreme Kais coming from trees. That's all pretty interesting stuff. But really, ultimately, this episode boils down to, do you want to see Goku fight? And the answer is always gonna be yes. And luckily, he does get to throw down with Glorio in this episode, and it's actually pretty damn awesome. But why are they even fighting in the first place? So, there's this super Akira Toriyama-styled subplot in this episode, and you know what I mean when I say that, where basically they decide to take a break after working on the ship, and they camp out in this little cave, where suddenly they're met by this giant Minotaur. Yes, a Minotaur. It looks like something straight out of Dragon Quest. By the way, buy your copy of Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake now. This is not an endorsement of my kind, I just want Square Enix to give me some free shit. Point is, this guy shows up, he starts huffing and puffing, saying that he's gonna throw down, and Goku and Glorio basically end up arguing over who's gonna fight this guy. And they build this guy up, and basically he just ends up being a goofy spectator as Goku and Glorio have a little sparring match. What I really like about this is we get to see that Glorio can do more than just shoot a stupid gun. He actually has the ability to use magic, which at the end of the day is just a ki blast. I mean, it's pretty much the same stuff you've seen before. I mean, sure, he can make it look all magical and sparkly and everything, but ultimately it's just firing beams from hands. Although I do have to admit that I do like the fact that he can actually create sort of like a whip, an energy whip, if you will, but really this doesn't mean much against Goku, who just absolutely wipes the floor with him in this episode, whether he's beating him with the frickin' power pole or actually going full-on Super Saiyan for more than just a second, and pretty much blasting through one of Glorio's supposedly strongest attacks, firmly establishing that, yes, Goku is going to be the muscle on this journey. But that's pretty much the episode right there, and I will say that the final action scene does leave a nice impression. It looks really good, again, giving us a little bit of that fighting choreography, but also the big flashy stuff like some transformation sequences, some really big awesome attacks. I particularly love this detail when Goku is going Super Saiyan for the first time in this episode, where this rock comes up over his face as a transition to show his eye color changing into blue. Nice little detail that I really liked. I also just really overall disliked the look of this entire episode and the weight and impact behind everything. It's pretty much everything I've wanted to see, and I hope we get to see more of it in the future, and hopefully it'll last more than just 3 minutes. Really, that's the one thing I'm just starved for, is just a really big, giant, extended action sequence, and maybe we'll get it, but that's kind of hard to say. Oh yeah, and there's also this other little subplot where it looks like Bulma has finally made the spaceship so that Vegeta, Piccolo, and Kibito can make their way to the Demon Realm. And in typical fashion, that thing goes up in the air and immediately comes down, basically shattering all of our dreams for wanting to see our favorite characters do something. Well, for now, it looks like it's basically going to be Goku, Supreme Kai, Glorio, and Goku still can't seem to remember this guy's name, which I guess is just going to be a running joke, and Pansy. And basically, that's it. We're just gonna have to go find those damn Dragon Balls, fight these Tomigamis, and hopefully things will pick up. I might seem a little pessimistic about this episode, like I'm hating it or something, but to be perfectly honest, I really enjoyed this one. I just really wish the plot would, just kind of kick it up a little bit, put the pedal to the metal on this one. I just want to see some more interesting things happen, but I mean, we still have a lot of episodes to get through, so there's a lot of time for them to develop this world, its new characters, and who knows what sort of plots and weird twists we're going to see. I know everybody's waiting with bated breath to see what these new fusions are going to be about, especially with those little bug pills. But that remains to be seen at the moment. What I will say is this episode, again, just gives us a nice little taste of some of the really awesome action that I think we're going to see here, not to mention learning a little bit more about Supreme Kai's race. I didn't expect to learn, they came from trees, and even more weirder, apparently they're all genderless. Despite the fact that some of them clearly have female features and male features, but whatever. Weird alien demon manga anime magic, it's strange. Wasn't strange, however, was this episode. It was still pretty entertaining. Not the best thing in the world, but definitely I think one of the best episodes that I've seen so far, so I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I still got a lot of enjoyment out of it. It wasn't perfect, but it's getting me really excited to see what's next. And again, getting to learn a little bit more about Glorio, what his overall plan is going to be, and learning about the Supreme Kais themselves. It's a pretty interesting episode, and you definitely should check it out. So tell me your thoughts about it, comment section below, and that's pretty much it. I'll see you all next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.